Okay. So now we are recording and we can slowly start. If you just join you, I ask you to please mute yourself. And then we will have time for questions later on, and you can, of course, unmute then. Okay, so good afternoon from my side. It's a pleasure having you here in this webinar we organized with beneficiaries. We organized this webinar mainly to provide you with some extra information about the submission of the investment concept now that the deadlines are approaching for you. And also to give you some information about how the investment concept is validated after you submit it, and to ask any questions you might have now that we're almost reaching the end of your EUCF journey. So this is the agenda for today. We will start with an introduction by Francisco Gonçalves from Energy Cities, which is the coordinator of the EUCF. Then I will present you briefly the structure and the content of the investment concept, and in the following, the process and the criteria for the validation. Then the last presentation is from my colleague Veronica from Envirus, and she will show you how the process of IC submission and how the validation steps run in the EUCF website user zone. Then afterwards, as I said, we will have a Q&A session. We have quite some time planned for it. So this is the chance for you to ask any questions you might have, and you can also use the chat anytime, and we will answer everything in the end. So Francisco, you're there, no?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So the
Hi,
floor
Carolina.
is yours.
Hi, everyone. Okay. Hey. Hello. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm very happy to be here and to just quickly open this webinar because the main protagonists of this workshop will be, first are you, the beneficiaries of the third call of the European City Facility, and then my dear colleagues Carolina and Veronica that will be here giving all the information you need to know about the submission of your investment concept. Carolina said something, and I'm going to reinforce it. This is turning point on your journey of the investment concept. So it's not to finalize the journey on the European City Facility, only this first trip that is the development of the investment concept. Then there will be a set of activities that we are going to be here to support you, to really help you towards the implementation and the financing of your investment concept. So now it's the moment that your journey is becoming, I would say, more exciting. So in the last 12 months, we have been developing the investment concept. So we are talking about 67 beneficiaries that were awarded with 60,000 euros to develop an investment concept. And during this webinar, we are going now to show you how to really all the information you need to know to finance, to submit your investment concept on the platform, the steps you need to give about the payment. So everything that, all the information on the platform that is important for you also to not have any question, and that on the technical side from the platform that you know everything, so you don't have problems on the time of the submission. We are always going to be here to support through the help desk and through your country expert if you have any issue on submitting your investment concept. But now everything is starting now to be, I would say, more exciting, really, that you finally are understanding the scope and the maturity of a project to really go to the financing and implementation phase. Just for your information, so I believe you received the invitation to webinars on the financial tool and also on investment tech that we are organizing in a couple of days. So we really encourage you to join us on these communities of practice. So we really encourage you to register and to be present. This is, I would say, the first news that I would like to share with you. And the second news is that the European City Facility was recently extended. So we have more 5 years to support additional beneficiaries. So more 200 beneficiaries to add to the current 213 that are already developing or having submitted already the investment concept. So we are going to be a family, the family is going to be extended, and we are going on top of that to reinforce our support on the implementation phase. So really we have new partners and that have expertise in the financial sector and will be really supporting and guiding the cities throughout the implementation phase. So keep tuned, because you are going to be, of course, involved in this journey, and we are very excited also to be here for more 5 years in this European City Facility journey.
Thank you, Francisco. So I will take over now, and I will present you some general information about the investment concept. This might be more or less clear for you at that point, but we see this webinar also as a good opportunity for us to go through it together again. And if you have questions, then we can answer afterwards. So starting from the very beginning, what is an investment concept? How do we understand the investment concept in the context of the EUCF? So for us, the investment concept is a document that translates a project idea into financial language to mobilize the financing for the realization of the project. As you know, we developed this investment concept template in a consultation process with different stakeholders. So we've been in contact with financial institutions, with experts in energy and climate in every country, and also with cities. And our goal was really to create a template that was really relevant for you and a really good tool for you to bridge this gap between the project idea and the financing and implementation of the project. So the purpose of this document is then to provide investors with all the information necessary to assess a project in a quick and easy manner, and also to transform then the actions that you have in your energy and climate plans into investment packages that can access funding opportunities. So this is the structure of the investment concept. The IC is developed in basically 3 sections. First, we have the summary of the investment, and this is kind of a teaser of the project, including some key information about it. And this is also equivalent to the English summary that we ask you to fill in the EUCF website user zone for the validation of the IC. I'm going to come back to it later on. Then we have the main body of the investment concept. It includes this 5 sections, which I'm going to address also more in detail. And we have finally the annexes, which can be submitted with the IC. So a set of supporting documents can be selected by you and submitted to complement the main body, the information that is in the main body of your investment concept. For us, a mandatory annex is the letter of support to the project. We have a template for that. And I will get back to it also soon. So now going a little more in detail to look at the information that you have to provide in the investment concept template. So the first section of our template will look at some general information about the project. So it includes a description of different aspects of the project. So here you're basically gonna address why is the project necessary, what are its objectives, what is the regulation framework under which the project is developed, what are the measures, if there are any barriers and obstacles, and how you plan to overcome this. Here you will also include the expected impacts of the project and the replication and upscaling potential, which was also already addressed in your application. And finally, you have here in this section a summary table included in different components of your investment. Then in section 2, we have a more detailed overview of aspects that were also included in the application. So regarding the organizational structure for the implementation of the project and the engagement of stakeholders. So here we address the organizations that are promoting and are involved in the projects. What is their level of commitment? So if you have, for example, letters of commitment available, or if any contracts have been signed, this can be indicated here. It's also important to include here what is the experience of these organizations with similar projects. This is something that contributes to raise the confidence of investors in the implementation of your project. Then this includes also the ownership structure and the risk profile of the different stakeholders, and a section on the stakeholder analysis. So who are the relevant project stakeholders? What do they need and expect from the project? And what are the activities that are planned within your investment to raise awareness about it and to foster the engagement of these stakeholders you identified? Then on the third section, we have a legal analysis. So this will include really a description of all the legal aspects of your project. So what are the legal requirements that apply to the development and implementation at the different phases? If there are any policies and regulations in place, this also contributes to raise confidence in the implementation of your investment. And in case there are regulatory obstacles, you can also mention them here and mention how you plan to overcome these obstacles. Then section 4 concerns the economic and financial analysis of the project, which is, of course, a key part of an investment concept and of developing a project for financing. So this section will include the estimated costs of the project. CAPEX and OPEX are included here. Then the cost savings and the revenues that it will generate in terms of renewable energy produced or energy savings. We have a section on all the financial indicators on economic viability. So here you have all these indicators coming from the cash flow analysis of the project. So the payback period, the net present value, and the internal rate of return. Here you will address also the risks of the project. This is very important for a bankable project, that the risks are addressed and the potential mitigation measures are already planned. And finally, you have to indicate here the financing approach for the project and what are the funding sources that you are planning for the implementation. So now we come to the last section of the investment concept, and here is what we call an investment roadmap. So this is an outlook on the realization of the investment project. And here you have to prepare a simple work plan, including what are the next steps for the project implementation, assign a timeline for each of the activities to be done, what are the expected outcomes, and who is responsible for it. This you can do, for example, using also a Gantt chart that can help the visualization. So now we have been through the sections of the main body of the investment concept template. As you know, the template can be developed by you in national language. It's been translated to all languages of eligible countries for the EUCF, and all of the templates in all the languages are available in the EUCF website for download. And for that reason, we ask you to fill online in the EUCF website user zone what we call the English summary. This English summary, as I said, is equivalent to the teaser that you have in the investment concept template. And it includes here like the main information, the key information about the project, so that we can have an understanding of what you did in your investment concept. So here I included the total investment that is planned, the funding sources, differentiating between requested and on funding. So how much you will need from other parties, a bank, or even from public funds, and how much you're gonna cover yourself. Then you have the sectors targeted by the project, which should be more or less the same as you indicated in the application. We have an overview and objectives of the investment where you describe shortly the project. we have the overview of the estimated costs and revenues and of the financial indicators that you have also in the investment concept template. And finally, of the impacts of the project in terms of energy savings and renewable energy generation, and also avoided CO2 emissions. So finally, we come here to the last element of your investment concept, the supporting documents that can be submitted as annexes to it. And here again, I would like to highlight that the two mandatory annexes for your submission are the IC template that we've been through now and the letter of support to the project. Please note that this letter of support is not the same from the application. We have a different template for that, and this is also available for you in the EUCF website. And you should not use the same letter. The text of this template and the commitments we are asking is a bit different. So please check if you're using the correct template before you do the submission. Then additionally to these two documents, you can also decide on other documents which are important for your project and which are needed to complement the information that you provided in the investment concept. So we provided here in the presentation and also in the guidance for beneficiaries, the document you received, a set of examples. These are set according to the section of the IC template that they refer to or that they could support to. And we kindly ask you to list also in the IC template the documents you are submitting. So in the investment concept template, you have in the last page a table with the sections of the investment concept, and you can write there which annex you are submitting and which section it refers to. So make a summary of the annexes. And with that, we are done with the investment concept, with the content of the investment concept. And now I'm gonna come to the second part of my presentation that handles the process of validation. So what are our objectives with the validation of the IC? First, we want to make sure that your investment concept is including all the information that is necessary and that it's a credible and robust concept that can move forward to seek for finance. We use this opportunity also to verify if the information you're providing in the investment concept is aligned with that you provided in the application and in the grant agreement. And it's also a good opportunity for us to give feedback on what you did and use this moment to revise anything that needs to be revised before getting to the final version. So this is the overall process of IC validation. It may look a little complicated, but we are going to go through it together and break it down a bit. So as in the evaluation process, we have here two steps in the validation. We have first the document check, in which basically the documents you submitted will be verified. And after we have the proper IC validation, which is based on this 4 criteria. If your IC is negatively validated at the end of the process, you will be asked to submit the non-development report, which I'm going to talk about later. And if it's positively validated, you receive the final payment of the EUCF grant. After each of the steps, you always have the possibility to revise your submission according to the feedback you received and submit everything again. So now we go step by step, looking first at the documents check. So as I mentioned, at this step, the evaluators will verify if you submitted all the documents and if they include all the content that is required. So if your investment concept has been thoroughly filled, if your English summary has been thoroughly filled, and if your letter of support is correct. You received feedback after this stage per email, and then you can access the EUCF website user zone and either provide a justification or adjust the documents you submitted. If after the second documents check, your IC is not positively validated, then it will go again to the non-development report. If it's positively validated at the documents check, it goes to the second step of the IC validation. So here, just making clear what are the requirements for the docs check. What are we checking? Is your English summary truly filled? All the information in the English summary must be provided. Is your investment concept template also truly filled? Have you used the EUCF template? Have you submitted the annexes appropriately? So using this table that I mentioned that is in the last page to list the annexes that you're submitting with the IC template. And last, regarding the letter of support, you need to use the template. It's mandatory, and the letter must be signed, as in the application, by the mayor or by another relevant political representative of the beneficiary. So moving forward now to the second step, to the IC validation. The investment concept is validated based on 4 quality criteria, which I will also describe more in detail soon. And after this step, you also receive feedback. The feedback is available in the EUCF website user zone, and you can either revise your submission or provide a justification for the issues that were raised during this feedback round. So if after the IC validation, your IC complies with all the quality criteria, it's positively validated and you receive a final feedback. If not, you will be notified per email. You can see your feedback in the EUCF website user zone and can make the adjustments or provide the respective justifications. If you don't do these adjustments, if you don't submit the IC again, you will also be asked to fill the non-development report. If you do, your IC goes then through the same process again to be positively or negatively validated in the end. There has been, we have been quite flexible here in understanding some delays and some problems of the beneficiaries. So if you see you cannot make a deadline, or for some reason it's not working for you, you can always contact the EUCF website, the EUCF team through the help desk, or contact your country experts. We have been very much in contact, and we have really been flexible in trying to adjust so that everyone can get their IC submitted and validated. So here we have the quality criteria for the validation of the IC. As I said, we have 4 quality criteria. The first criterion is consistency. And here we verify if the information you provided in the investment concept is consistent with the information you provided in the application form. So here we will check the targeted sectors and the investment size and the impacts in terms of energy savings and renewable energy production. If those figures are lower or different than what you provided in the application, you will be asked in the feedback to provide a justification. There has been quite many questions about this criterion in the last 2 calls. So to clarify, of course, we understand that the estimations you made in the application may not apply after the investment concept is further developed. So maybe you have done an energy audit or conducted further studies that prove that part of your projects is not feasible. So many things can happen in this process. And we totally understand that this happened. What is important for us is just to understand what exactly happened, why you didn't reach the figures that you estimated in the application form. In the EUCF website user zone, Veronica will show you, but you will see directly if there are deviations from the figures you are providing now from what you provided in the application. If you don't want to go through the feedback round to receive this feedback because you know already, you can provide a justification for it already in the section lessons learned of the English summary. So if you see your figures are lower and are highlighted there in the form, you can write an explanation for it in the lessons learned field. And we will take this into consideration in the validation, that if this is the only problem with your IC, you will not go through the feedback round, and we save some time for your validation. So our second criterion is coherence and plausibility. And here we verify if the information you're providing in the English summary is clear and if it makes sense in the total. So if there's nothing contradictory in itself, if the indicators are making sense among each other and with the project you are proposing. Our third criterion is an overall criterion. It's also similar to what we have in the evaluation, the alignment with EUCF objectives. So here we address an overall perception and understanding of the IC, if it's sound and credible and well prepared, and if it's aligned with our ultimate objective, which is to build a substantial pipeline of sustainable energy projects in Europe. Then last, our fourth criterion is the realization potential. And here we will look mainly at your letter of support. And if this letter is correctly submitted and demonstrates your political will to move forward with the implementation of the project, or the political support at least to move forward with the project. Then finally, I mentioned this a couple of times, the IC non-development report. So this report is also filled online in the EUCF website user zone, and it must be completed in 3 cases. First, if you cannot complete your IC, if you decide you will not move forward with it, or if you cannot make the deadline. Then the second case is if you do not resubmit the IC after the feedback round, if we cannot contact you and you don't let us know that there's some delay. And finally, if the IC is negatively validated, you will also be asked to fill this report. And what is actually this report? This is a very, very simple report. There are 4 questions. And our goal here is really to better understand what happened, what were the main challenges, and what were the main reasons why you could not complete the IC. And also what were your key takeaways and learnings from the experience of developing the IC within the EUCF. At this point, you can also fill the English summary if you have the information. This is nice for us for our monitoring of the projects, but if you don't have the information, it's not mandatory that you fill it out. So now to conclude, this is my last slide. The non-development report must be submitted within 30 days from the email notification you receive. And after submitted, this report must be approved by the EUCF team. And here we check really if everything was filled and if the information makes sense, if it's clear what happened in your IC development. Then if the report is submitted and approved, the beneficiary keeps the pre-financing of the first part of the EUCF grant. If the report is not submitted or is submitted but not approved, then the beneficiary has to repay the pre-financing. So as I said, it's a very simple report, very easy to fill out, so that you don't have to repay the pre-financing, but we have very little cases in which the beneficiaries are coming to the non-development report. The majority is really being able to submit the IC within the deadlines. And that's it from my side. Then I will give the floor to Veronica. I hope you can share your screen.
Thank you. Yes, let's try. First of all, I'll try to switch it on. Can you see it? Can you see it in the presentation mode?
No, we see the PowerPoint.
I will just change it. Okay. Better? Perfect. I will stop. Okay. Well, good afternoon, everybody. I will just go through the process. Sorry, yeah, it works. Through the process of the IC submission in the website user zone. Shortly, I will now just introduce you this diagram before we will go step by step in the next slides. So you do the IC submission online in the website user zone. Just shortly by the colors in blue, this is like the process when everything goes well, when the documents are accepted, and when your investment concept is validated. As you can see, the IC submission process now allows us to ask you for justification, for correction, as Carolina explained. This correction can be done right after the docs check, we call it document check, sorry, and or after the submission of the investment concept. In the worst, when your IC is not validated at any stage of this whole submission process, you will have to provide us the non-development report. But now I can go maybe step by step. This is how you can see your website user zone now. What is important for you is now use this menu, IC development, which you couldn't see before. So now this is the most important for you. As I said, like the investment concept is submitted online, and you fill online everything. So you fill here the English summary. It's just up, down here, and you submit all the mandatory annexes. Everything is online. Here, when we go from the top, you are able to request for extension, and you do that online exactly like in this IC development. So what you have to do is provide us justification for your extension and ask us, send this request. Usually you are informed 1 month before your deadline for the submission. So you should, when you know you are not able, or you would need a few more weeks more, you can ask us, and we can give you 30 days of extension. Then you would see always the extension date of your IC. This we can come back later also to this slide. You will always know what is your new date for the handover of your investment concept. It is always in the system written down. I will now present the deviation that Carolina explained to you. So the system always automatically calculate and highlight deviation, which for investment size, for energy savings, renewable production, and it compares with the relation with the application phase. So what you put in application phase, and now what you will put to the investment concept, it compares and it will show you any deviation. As you can see here, you will see always here, this will be your new, what you put, this little number here, it means what you already put in the application phase, and this is the deviation. It also shows the deviation when it is positive deviation, but for the positive deviation, you don't need to necessarily provide any justification. But in a case, it is more than 10% lower than foreseen originally, you have to provide a justification, and this system shows you for which part. So if you will see that actually there is more than 10% deviation for any of these numbers, you will have to provide justification for all of them. So it means also when you see only for investment size and for renewable production, please provide the justification always for each of the impacts and of the investment size, and you will just avoid that the process is extended, is prolonged, and for you it basically means it takes more time to receive the second part of the grant payment. So if you can directly in the first stage provide all the justification in the lessons learned window or menu in the English summary. It will just ease the whole process, and we will not need to ask you, basically the evaluators will not need to ask you and send you back the investment concept asking you to provide a justification. Here, like at the end of the IC development menu in the website user zone, there will be a place where you can upload the annexes. It's very easy. You can just drag it or choose a file from your computer. Here you can also see that it is selected as mandatory annexes and other annexes. So it's very, very visible what you have to do. But as I mentioned in the beginning, you would be able to like request, you could be able to ask for a submission, and the resubmission can be done after the docs check, and that happens when when some of the documents, for example, are missing some information, the tables can be blanked, or for example, the supporting letter is not signed. So we just ask you to provide or correct these documents, and you will have around 7 days to resubmit the adjusted documents. Once we check the documents and we validate it, your IC goes directly to the validation process, and in the whole evaluation process, that's what Carolina described to you. Let's just go to, yes, here. So there will be now for you 2 new menus. This one is where you first fill your IC. This is the IC development. And then once we validate or we ask you to resubmit the investment concept, you will have to click here on the IC validation menu. It will look like this. It means you can see everything important for understanding what was wrong with your investment concept. What is very important for you is here the date of resubmission deadline. Please think about that. And another most important part is this feedback for improvements. Sometimes just little reminder. Sometimes it happened, it's not open, so just here would be a plus, click on the plus, and it will open the whole window. So sometimes the beneficiaries cannot easily see, but you just have to open exactly like you can see down there. You have all the feedback for improvements here. So when there is something wrong with the criteria, consistency and coherence and plausibility, you will see what the evaluators found, what they ask you to provide, to change, to explain. And you will of course see also like the feedback on the another parts, but they can just say that everything was correct. And now at this moment, it doesn't really mean that you have to do anything with these 2 parts. You just really need to follow the feedback for the criteria that you were asked for to change something. Let's go. Okay. In this part, which is also very, very important, is like this part, the IC revision and justification from beneficiary. So first, I would like to just say that you will be asked to change something in the English summary of investment concept. For example, there will be maybe some miscalculation, or we will not understand enough your explanations of something. So you can always adjust your English summary. So please do that. So if we ask something to do that, but also let us know that you change it. For example, sorry. sorry. Yeah. we would like to avoid the fact that you change something and you don't really provide justification, or you don't let us know. So please, here there is like, you have a special windows where you can explain the reasoning behind, for example, the numbers. You can also let us know that for the calculation or explanation, you uploaded an additional document. It can happen like sometimes that providing more, let's say, calculation logs or another like bigger document when it takes much much more letters to explain what happened. You can, yeah, always welcome to do so. So please, here you will see, fill just the windows that you were asked to correct. You are not obliged to add anything here to those that were good. And as Karina said, there is also a stage for the non-development report. This could be done in any stage of the submission. You can realize that you are not able to develop the investment concept, and you will not submit it for validation. So you directly request the non-development report, but it can also happen after the docs check, and it can happen after the IC validation. You will see. You have to start the non-development report again online. It can be requested under the menu IC development, and there is this section cancel IC development. And in the moment you will start it, you will just fill it. It will look like this. Again, you will be informed about the last day to submit it, and you will just be asked question to provide us the reasons and what happened, for us to better understand the challenges. And this basically, the non-development report form looks like this. Okay, that will be all from me, but let's see if you have some questions. I think we have now a moment to answer all your questions. So is it right? Or there is
Yes.
something more? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so we are a bit earlier on schedule, so we have quite some time for questions. So this is the moment if you have anything. I see Corinne.
Yes, thank you. Hi.
Yes, okay.
Yes, hi, Carolina. Hi. Yes, I have a question. There are some parties within our IC concept. They don't want to disclose some data, such as the net present value and other figures, and mainly of the district heating company. And now I want to know, what's going to happen with the data? What can I tell them?
But this, like the information on the IC will not be published anywhere. It's just internal, so no one will have access to it. I don't know if this would solve the problem for you with with confidentiality, but like this doesn't go around your investment concept template.
No, it's just with the EUCF.
Yeah. Otherwise, if there's no way and you can really not disclosure the data, you can also use this lessons learned section and explain why you didn't fill some parts of the IC and make it clear that you have a problem with the confidentiality of the data. But yeah, I can assure you that it doesn't become public. And this is also something like we have beneficiaries asking if they can have examples of investment concepts of beneficiaries of the previous calls, and we cannot share examples because there is a lot of information that is not to be shared in it. So you can have some peace of mind that it won't be shared. If there's a problem and you can really not share, use this field and explain why.
Yes, thank you. And I also read somewhere that a Gantt chart is required.
It's not required, but you can use.
You can use, okay, it's a tool. And Yeah, and if the letter of intent, the major can sign or another legal representative, and when the other legal representative signed, do you also to demonstrate a mandate regulation in English?
No, we don't require it. It just has to be someone who has some political relevance for the municipality. So that we see that the position of the person is something of higher level and not like not like from the team of the project or something like this.
I know. No,
some
political.
political.
Yeah, I understand. Thank you, Carolina.
You're welcome.
Was, thank you.
Anyone? I hope I see all the. I don't see more raised hands. Something I forgot to mention, and I think Veronica highlighted, but I wanted to highlight again, are the times for the revision. So after the documents check, you have quite a short time to revise your IC. You have 7 days. Because we suppose at this stage, it's only like you forgot something or the signature is missing or something like this. So 7 days for the revision. This is the deadline for your submission. As Veronica said, also you can always contact us and let us know if you have problems to make the deadline. And after the validation, we have a longer period for you to revise the investment concept, which is of 30 days. And as Veronica mentioned, you can always see your deadlines in the platform, in the EUCF website user zone. I see Agnes. Do you want to say something, Veronica?
Just maybe a little tip for the docs check. Sometimes we are obliged to send it back for really a minor thing. Sometimes the IC is provided in the PDF file still in with the track changes, or with the comment section where you justify or comment some I don't know, can say deviation, and you comment it in the you provide this IC with the comments. I would advise to give us the final version, and if you want, you can provide us also as a supporting document the same version with the comments, and just explain in the lessons learned that that you enclose the supporting document where it is really explained, but we should have the final version, and it's a shame to send it back to you. It's just also more work for you to go again through the process. So just don't forget to provide the final version of the investment concept.
Yeah, and overall, I think we all have the same objective, which is to conclude the validation as quick as possible. So you, from the moment you submit it, you want to get it validated so you can get the second part of the grant. We also don't want to spend super long validating your investment concept. So any the faster you do it, the faster we will also be able to finalize the process. And we ask you also from the moment you submit your investment concept on, that you keep track of your emails, of the email that is registered in the EUCF website user zone. All the communication is automatic and run through this email. So if you're not sure who is registered there, or if you're not receiving the emails, take a look at your profile there, your account. So you have an email that is really working and there is really someone checking. Because for the docs check, for example, you have 7 days to do this revision. We have some flexibility in extending your deadline and understanding your problems, but you should be checking if you receive some feedback. And I see Agnes with her head raised.
Thank you. A strong pillar of our IC is related to private-owned residential buildings, and there are huge Excel files counting all sort of inputs and outputs. Would you like to see these Excel files? I mean, they explain a lot. The language is in Hungarian. but you see really a huge amount of numbers. Does it help to understand our IC, or does it help our Hungarian contact point to understand? Or so shall we include them as annexes or not?
I think it doesn't hurt. It's always better to have more information from where we can understand than a little information. From projects that are financed by homeowners, we understand, and we had previous cases that it's not so easy to come to the indicators, to come to one final economic or financial indicator, because the project is financed through different people and different streams. So you can, if you think it's useful, you can submit it. I guess it's ready and it doesn't change anything for you submitting or not. So I think the more information you add, the best it is for us to understand better.
Okay, I would also like to ask if you will circulate the recordings of
Yes.
of this. Yeah, thank you.
We will publish now when you enter the website of the EUCF, you will see in the application menu, there's first, second, third, and fourth call. And under your call, you can we will find the webinar, the link for the recording.
Thank you.
Do we have more questions? Okay. So I think we can conclude a bit earlier. As Francisco also mentioned, if we are always here for you. So if you have any problem, if you're having any difficulty with the investment concept with the platform, also you can always contact us through the help desk. You can always contact your country experts. Also they know very well also the process and can support you if you need. So yeah, that you know that in this like last track before submission, we are here for you, and we are very flexible and comprehensive. So let us know if you need any support, if you need anything from us. And I think that's it. Thank you so much for your presence today, and I wish you very, very good luck now to conclude everything.
Thank you for all your
Thank you very much.
information.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Have a nice day.
Thank you.
Bye.
A nice day.